So even though Avengers Age of Ultron has only just come out in the cinemas and people are still watching it, people are also looking excitedly towards the first film in Phase 3, which is going to be Captain America Civil War. And I think one of the main reasons for this is that the cast is going to be very big in this film. I mean, seriously, this could pass for an Avengers film. There are so many characters in it. So the major ones that are returning are going to be Chris Evans as, of course, Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes or the Winter Soldier, Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson or the Falcon, and Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton or Hawkeye. You've also got new people who are introduced in the Avengers Age of Ultron, and I will say from now on you might have some spoilers for that film, so if you haven't seen it yet, consider turning off the video. And those are going to be Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff as Scarlet Witch, and Paul Bettany as The Vision, who was introduced later on in Avengers Age of Ultron. There are also even more characters that are suspected to be in the film, but one of them that hasn't been in any way confirmed yet, but I have a suspicion that will be in the film, is Spider-Man, because of course, fairly recently, Spider-Man was acquired by Marvel, by Disney, to be used in the official MCU. And it just would seem like such a missed opportunity to not have Spider-Man in Civil War. Because from what I vaguely understand of Civil War, essentially the general plot here is that there are two sides of superheroes. On one side are in favour of registering themselves on this charter of superheroes, and the other aren't. And of course the decisive factor in whether they want to do that or not is if they have a secret identity. Now, if I remember correctly, you essentially have Iron Man Tony Stark being in favour of registration, and Captain America, of course, being all about freedom, is more about, reserving secrecy for the superheroes. And essentially this whole thing begins with a supervillain named Nitro blowing up, causing a massive explosion and devastation, and as a result the US government wants to pass this Superhero Registration Act to, of course, make themselves feel safer. But the thing about in the MCU, as far as I understand it, Steve Rogers isn't using Captain America as a secret identity. He's always running around without his mask on, he's not really taking too much care to keep his identity covered up. So I wondered, will he be against the Registration Act this time around? But the thing is, if you bring in someone like Spider-Man, who is all about secret identity, I think more than any other superhero really, because he really is putting on the mask to protect those he cares about, he would make the perfect person to actually want to go against the Registration Act. But on the other hand, I can't imagine him playing a major role. I think if he is in this film, I would be surprised if he really does anything more than a cameo, something like, Rhino was in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So although I would love Spider-Man to be in this film, I don't think he'll do anything more than just be a cameo. I don't even think we'd see Peter Parker. I think we would just see Spider-Man in his costume, beating up some bad guys, doing something especially cool, but not being monumental to the plot. Kind of like what Vision was, if you want, to Avengers Age of Ultron. He kind of came in towards the end and did some cool stuff, but he wasn't a true main character. Well, he kind of was a main character, but you know what I mean, not the driving force of the plot. The thing that does slightly concern me about this cast of characters is that I do wonder if they will overwhelm the scripts, because there are just so many here. I mean, Avengers Age of Ultron did begin to wobble under the weight of its cast. I think it just about managed to contain it, but it did get close. I mean, there are certain rumours of other characters being involved, like Agent Carter. Apparently Martin Freeman may play a part in this as some role. You've got Benedict Cumberbatch, who's going to be Doctor Strange. There are so many other characters that could potentially be in this. It's crazy. It could threaten to overwhelm it. And I think the way to avoid that is to really focus on Captain America. I mean, it is his film. I mean, to make an analogy with a photograph, sometimes it's good just to pull focus on a particular object and blur the rest out, but it's still there to make the picture nicer. Just don't focus on them. Focus on Captain America and let all this other stuff happen around him. And it's an advantage of calling it Captain America Civil War. I've learned that with the Marvel films, in order to try and judge beforehand what kind of quality you're going to get, it's good to see who's behind the camera, who's directing the film. And for this film, for Civil War, it's going to be the Russo brothers, Joe and Anthony. And they're the ones who did The Winter Soldier, which I think was pretty much unanimously loved. I certainly loved it. And they're also going to be inheriting the Avengers from Joss Whedon. And of course, the massive cast we have here is going to give them a bit of experience in juggling so many characters. One thing I absolutely love about the Civil War setup is the fact that it opens up the possibility of the heroes fighting each other, depending of course on what side of the Registration Act they fall on. And it's not at all a contrived reason either, it's a good reason. It's not like mind control, this is a genuine reason for the heroes to be fighting each other. And I think two of the most prominent, most interesting moments from the MCU film so far have been that fight between Iron Man and Thor in the forest. It was a very quick thing, but it was very interesting. And of course, between Iron Man and the Hulk in Age of Ultron. And if we basically had a film of that, with superheroes fighting superheroes, it would be great, because of course different viewers would be rooting for different characters. It would be very interesting. You'd be, oh, are you on Team Iron Man or you're on Team Captain America? It would create this interesting dynamic between the viewers. And it's got a lot of potential here, and I think if the Russo brothers get it right, then this could very well be one of the best MCU films yet. And so that's just what I've got from my loose information on the film so far. As always, people, thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.